All right, it's the 2 o'clock hour. I want to welcome everybody to the Fall Preview Day 2020. My name is Dominique Sandheinrich, and I am the Assistant Director of Financial Aid at the Brown School. And basically, this next few minutes, we're going to just have a high-level conversation um, about financial aid and how to finance your program at the Brown School. And so, with that being said, you may see my name be interchangeable. You may see Dominique Brown some places or Dominique Sandheinrich some places. So just be mindful of that. I got married and switching my name all over is quite a bit, but I want to welcome everyone. And so, again, this is going to be high level, just kind of talking about some of the basics of financial aid, what it looks like to finance your program here with us. So, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to put that in the chat. If there's any questions that you have about maybe your personal finances or something that's more specific to yourself, I encourage you to email me directly, and we can talk about that specifically to you and how that pertains to you. So we'll go ahead and get started. And again, I want to welcome everyone to this conversation. And once I'm done with my PowerPoint, we will have open discussion for any questions that you may have, any answers that I may not have. I encourage my student ambassadors, thank you so much for being here, to support me in that. And if we don't come up with that answer, we'll be sure to email you directly with that answer to make sure you get everything that you need. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. So give me 1 second. All right. Let me hide. All right, from the beginning. Let me change one more setting here. All right, can everyone hear me okay? You can just shake your head for me. All right, can everyone see my screen okay? Awesome, thank you guys. All right, so again, welcome. I'm just gonna go through again the PowerPoint here that I have. Again, for tuition and financial aid specifically for the Brown School. And again, my name's Dominique Sandheinrich, and the best way to reach me is going to be via email. Again, a lot of our faculty and staff are still currently working remotely, and sometimes it's hard for me to get all the messages on my phone. So emailing me is going to be the best way to contact me. All right, so a little bit about me, just so you guys know. This is my husband, John, and we live in the St. Louis area. We are both originally from Illinois, and we enjoy the neighborhood called Soulard in St. Louis. These are our two dogs, Gus and Indigo. And then, if you don't know anything about Soulard, we host the second largest Mardi Gras in the nation. And so these are just a few of my friends in our backyard, just enjoying the St. Louis life. And then my husband and I doing axe throwing. I can pat myself on the back and say I did better, but it was a good time doing axe throwing. And so this is just a little bit about me. And of course, this was before we had to social distance in the group picture. But that's just to get to know me a little bit and my little family. All right. So to the good stuff, why you would contact me. So any questions that you may have in relation to your financial aid, so that could be your scholarships, your loans, maybe what work study is, or anything pertaining to your student balance, I may be able to navigate that for you or at least connect you to the right department. Anything related to student loan borrowing, we'll talk about that a little bit more. It may be some tuition issues or planning. You may see something on your balance that may not look correct. By all means, I'm the person to go to for that. And then any external scholarship assistance, I can assist you in that as well, whether that is the search or providing a document that you need attached to an external scholarship, or just simply making sure that those funds are applied to your student account. And then living expenses refunds from your federal loan specifically. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then creating a financial budget during your program. I know this can be difficult for some. And so just being able to talk through some of those hard numbers and figure out how we can make sure that you are financing and making the best decision to be debt free at the end. All right, so I'm going to work off of our 2020-21 tuition and fees. And so our Master's of Social Work currently is 43,460 per year. And there's a breakdown per semester. Again, this is tuition only right now. And then our Master's of Public Health, it's going to be slightly cheaper. That's going to be 19,300 per semester, again with a grand total of 38,600 per year. Okay, and again, tuition only. And then to talk a little bit about the fees that are also added into your tuition and fees, it's going to be your health and wellness fee. So right now it's at 524 per year. Of course, we split that in half per semester. And basically what that health and wellness fee does, it allows students to be able to get into any of our gyms that we have on campus. It helps support any health related maybe functions that we have on campus, any kind of testing or booths or anything that is basically related to health. This fee is applied to our undergraduate and our graduate students as well. And then our student activity fee. That is going to be specific to the Brown School. And we split that up 50 per semester. And depending on how things are going, I know this fall semester specifically, that $50 fee was waived. But the student activity fee, that supports our student groups. So when we have speakers on campus or any kind of just programming, those funds go to support those student groups and maybe those speakers and get what they need to make sure that that program runs smoothly. Again, that is a Brown only activity fee. Then we have our student health insurance, and that is 1,942 per year, and that is only going to be charged to you in the fall semester. Now, generally, this fee goes up every year, but it was locked in this year at 1,942. And if you come in already having health insurance and it meets our criteria, then you have the opportunity to waive this fee as well. And that is something that you will talk with me or the Habit Health, our health center on campus, may be able to help you navigate that and get that waived. And but every student has to be insured. And so that is something again you can talk to me about. You can take out enough loans to cover that as well, and we can talk about that specifically for you. So that is our tuition and and fees only. And to think about that, I also want you to consider living expenses. And when you incorporate living expenses, we call that cost of attendance. So there's going to be a difference between your tuition only, tuition and fees only, and your cost of attendance. And so if you plan to move to St. Louis or reside where you are, of course, living expenses can vary. So we estimated what it would cost to live in St. Louis for a student with rent or a mortgage, utilities, groceries, personal and miscellaneous, books, supplies. And that is a whole nother added amount that can be through your financial aid as well. And so we can allow loans up to a certain amount, and that is going to be cost of attendance. So as a reminder, there is a difference between your tuition and fees and your cost of attendance. And again, we can talk about that more specifically and how we can cater those numbers to you. All right. So the big question is, how do you plan to pay for your Brown School program? And we'll go over just some specifics when it comes to scholarships, employer assistance. So if you work for a company that may reimburse, that is always a good conversation to have to kind of figure out what that looks like, how they plan to reimburse you. Will that be up front or after? And I can guide you in those kind of conversations. And then family assistance. If you have any family members that plan to guide you, or any undergraduate after you graduate your undergraduate, any funds to put towards that, that is something to think about. And then the 529 plan. And that is basically a savings plan that is specific to your educational needs. And that is a plan that families incorporate early on. And if you have that, we can talk about how that can be dispersed towards your balance. And then if you have any savings, of course, we encourage savings, any kind of personal financing of your program. And then the payment plan, working with me and student accounting, we can work with that payment plan in order to set you up in order to pay each semester. And then federal work study and on-campus employment. Those are a couple of opportunities that I'll go through. And then, of course, our student loans, and then the two loans that we specifically work with here at the Brown School. All right. So with our Brown School scholarships, we have merit and need based. And again, those merit based scholarships are going to be provided or awarded through admissions specifically. So that'll be with your application, once you provide all the materials and do your interview. And that is then communicated to me, and I will divide that evenly over your program. Again, if maybe you get a $20,000 scholarship and you're here for 2 years, that's 4 semesters, I would apply 5,000 to each semester. That's kind of how that works. So we'll allocate that evenly, and kind of talk through what that looks like for you specifically. And then we also have continuing student scholarship available, and that's going to be for your second year with us. And we can talk more about the various scholarships that you can apply for. And then our need-based scholarship. This is a separate scholarship opportunity. Again, must be submitted with your admissions application. And we're trying to work on those turnaround times and make sure you can see what could possibly be available to you before we get fully into that fall semester. There are a limited number of need-based scholarships available. And then those are awarded to students who demonstrate the most significant financial need. And so that application is going to ask you questions maybe about your undergraduate loans, maybe your parental assistance, and just kind of what that looks like for you and where we can maybe assist you in closing that gap. I know coming out of undergraduate, some of us may have a lot of debt. And so our goal is to really eliminate some of that debt and assist you where we can. Again, a limited number of scholarships, questions will be asked. We'll go over answers, and then also there's a narrative attached to that as well. Okay, so those are our two scholarships for the Brown School specifically. Then external scholarships. Of course, we encourage all students to seek out external scholarships. Do an online search, a Google search. It's very subjective, but on our website at the Brown School, we list some opportunities there, and you'll be able to kind of read through those, see if you're eligible for those, and apply for those. And so those require a separate application, maybe some essay, maybe some financial information you have to provide to them. But that is all something that you'll be able to work through, and then I can assist you in that. And then again, this can be any external awards can be in addition to the Brown School. So we do have some students that don't take out any loans and find several additional external or outside awards to be applied to their tuition, and they end up not having to owe anything or not having to come out of pocket or take out any loans. And so we always encourage you to start that loan process now, or excuse me, the external scholarship process now, and get to writing those letters, get them sent out, look at those deadlines, because I know a lot of students come to us fall and ask about external scholarships, and those deadlines have passed already. So I encourage you to start looking now. And then there's a variety of ways to search for these through professional organizations, cultural, faith, heritage, again, employers, social organizations. I encourage you just to do a wide search, apply, apply, apply. Okay. So those are external scholarships. Okay. Now to our federal aid loans. These are the two that we work with specifically here at the Brown School. And that's going to be your unsubsidized direct loan, formerly called Stafford. It was Stafford when I was in college years ago. And then we also have the Graduate Plus loan. So with your unsubsidized direct loan, that is going to be the loan where a student who is eligible can apply up to 20,500 per academic year. And so we typically like to split that in half with about 2,250 each semester. Sometimes we give or take a little bit of that in each semester, but the max is 20,500. And with your unsubsidized loan, direct loan, your origination fee is going to be lower, and your interest rate is going to be lower than the Graduate Plus loan. Okay. So we always encourage to do the unsubsidized direct loan first. And then if we need to go into the Graduate Plus loan to kind of help you fill in that gap, that's what that plus loan's for. So with that Graduate Plus loan, the Plus loan is a credit-based loan. So not necessarily based on your credit score, but on your credit in general. So have you filed for bankruptcy? Has there been any fraud? Anything that's hit against your credit specifically may prevent you from actually being eligible for the Plus loan. And then if you've maxed out on all your loans and you cannot use a Graduate Plus loan, there is a way to maybe do a co-signer, kind of like any other loan, get a co-signer to assist you in receiving these funds to help you. But again, we always encourage the direct loan first, max that out first, and then fill in the gap with that plus loan. And again, the plus loan has a higher interest rate and origination fee. And the origination fee is basically it's a fee that you pay to the servicer to process the loan. So that fee does not come to us, it'll go to your servicer, and that servicer is provided randomly to you through the studentaid.gov website. So if you've ever heard of like Sally Mae or Great Lakes or Navient, those are just three of the ones that I know off the top of my head. You will pay them to process that loan that comes to us that then goes towards your tuition. So again, origination fee comes out of the loan amount. And so if you're getting, for example, 10,250, and you agree to that, it'll be lower. You would probably end up getting at the rate right now, it'd be about 10,142 because that origination fee is taken out of that to process the loan. Okay. And the same goes for the Graduate Plus loan as well, but at a higher rate for each. And then we encourage you to again max out the federal part first. But if that is not an option for you, private loans are definitely secondary. Banks, credit unions, private lenders, those are ones that you would have to seek out personally and make those decisions. I can definitely talk you through some of those, help answer any questions. But again, you should only utilize these if federal loans are not an option. And I know that federal loans for some of our international students is not an option. So they tend to seek out some private loans or they get assistance with some of those external scholarships as well. And so, again, difference in fixed rates, repayment plan options, those will all vary in the private loans that you choose. But I can talk you through all of those. Okay, so those are the federal aid ones. And then federal aid campus employment opportunities. As you know, a lot of things have been limited on campus this semester or this year, but hopefully we'll be able to incorporate more remote work and maybe even more in-person work. And so with our federal work study, that is a part of your financial aid package. And so to determine if you're eligible for the federal work study, you would need to have a FAFSA of an EFC on your FAFSA of 2,000 or less. And the EFC is the estimated family contribution. And that number determines if you are eligible for federal work study. And that number is based on a federal guideline. That is not a WashU or a Brown School number. And so once your FAFSA is in, before March 1st, hopefully, try to get those in as soon as you can. We can determine if you are eligible for that for federal work study, and you'll be able to find those jobs on campus. We encourage students to seek those out. Those federal work study positions can be in research departments. Those can be with professors specifically in various departments across the Brown School and WashU community. The max amount per year is 2,000. Most of our students get 1,000 per semester, and these are funds that you are earning. So you can put it in your pocket, you can put it directly back towards your tuition or your student balance. Again, these are earned funds with federal work study specific. And then on-campus employment. Part-time positions are available across campus and at Brown School. That could be in our library, that could be in our gyms, that could be in our food service department. But Career Services will host a part-time virtual job fair, again, hopefully in person by next year, to kind of assist you in that, kind of explore some of those options that you may be eligible for or want to apply for. And then after that job fair, they'll post all those positions, on our Simplicity website. And that's an opportunity for you to just kind of filter through the jobs that you may want to apply for in the future. So those are some opportunities to get paid either through federal aid or just working on campus. All right. So what to do now? Here we are, October. Um, what can you do now? So before fall 2021 classes begin, we encourage you just to have a solid plan to pay for your tuition and fees. Again, this is something that you can talk to me about. We can crunch numbers, talk about interest rates. Those will vary, of course, but we encourage students to utilize those federal student aid funds if you can. And what will happen is I will create your financial aid package that'll be sent via email. And you'll have a letter to sign that'll talk about your scholarships that you were awarded, a federal work study, something that you want to approve. This is in a letter of acceptance and saying, hey, Dominique, I approve these amounts. And you'll be able to fax it, mail it, scan it into me, and I'll attach it to your file. And then in order for those loans to disperse to your student account, you will need to complete some various steps. So that can include completing your direct loan entrance counseling, completing your master of promissory note. And if you plan to do that graduate plus loan, there's steps for that as well. And ways that you can get this completed is going to the studentaid.gov website where you completed your FAFSA. And all of those steps are there pretty much on the landing page. And you'll be able to complete those for you specifically. If you leave any of these steps out, your loan will not disperse. And then I'll have to email and let you know, hey, we need you to complete this step. Um, and so those are just different various steps for each loan in order for those loans to disperse. Again, if you plan to use a 529 plan, we can talk through how that can be dispersed to your tuition or student balance. If you're setting up a payment plan, that's going to be with student accounting, and then I will be of support in that as well. And then completing your health insurance waiver. Again, September 5th is going to be the latest time for that waiver. That could give or take a few days, but get that waiver in if you know you're already covered. We can knock that insurance off of your balance so you won't have to worry about that. And then notify me of any external scholarships that you are awarded. When you notify me and you let me know, I can keep an eye out for the checks that come in. Again, some of those checks may come to me directly or to our Student Financial Services Department or even our Student Accounting Department. And so if you let me know that you have been awarded, I can have those conversations with those two departments and just say, hey, have you seen Nicholas's scholarship for something specific? And we can talk through that to make sure that that gets applied accordingly. And then that allows me to know the terms of that external scholarship as well. You may only be able to use it as a full-time student. You may only be able to utilize those funds in a certain or specific semester. And so we want to make sure that we apply that accordingly to the terms of those external scholarships. And lastly, with external scholarships, you might even need supportive documents. I know there's been a few people that needed maybe a need analysis or a letter stating that, hey, the student is full-time at the Brown School. Communicate that with me. I'll draw up a letter for you, sign off on it, anything to do to help you, to support you in external scholarship and support you in not um, increasing any kind of debt. So that is for our external scholarships and what to do as of right now. Again, I encourage you to get those FAFSAs completed soon, very soon. All right. So that is kind of a high level overview of just what we can kind of talk about as a group. And if you have any questions, hopefully they're in the chat, but this is how you can reach me. Again, emailing me is going to be your best bet. I'm working from home for quite a while. And then we can also set up a Zoom or just a personal call as well. I am more than happy to talk to you and walk through any kind of steps to ensure that you get what you need. Right. So I'm going to stop sharing here and open it up for our student ambassadors to kind of maybe navigate any questions that are in the chat. Do you offer any subsidized loans? Yes, subsidized loans are going to only be for graduate programs. We only do unsubsidized in the graduate program. Good question. Students applying to the 3-2 program with merit. Apply to both years at the Brown School. Yes. So your merit-based scholarship will be applied to whenever you are prime. So that means with the Brown School. No matter your program, you may get a merit-based scholarship Say, for instance, if you were a dual, you may get one for an MSW or an MPH. Those merits will be applied to those programs specifically, so that 3-2 will be applied to the semesters that you are with us. Oh, good questions.
I personally did not apply for external scholarships. I think it's because I started looking a little bit too late. And on the PDF that Beth posted a little bit earlier, you'll see a lot of these external scholarships have really early deadlines, sometimes even before the Brown School deadlines. So if you're interested in applying, I encourage you to start as early as possible on those, also because sometimes they also require letters of recommendation. So if you're already asking people for letters of recommendation for your Brown School application, you could go ahead and ask them along with the external scholarships as well. So that would be my advice.
That was a good question. Again, I encourage students to, and this is going to sound maybe kind of cheesy, but to really Google scholarships. You would be amazed. I think a student got a scholarship this year, really randomly. It was, I think it was only for 1,000, but for being left-handed. So you really just, I know, but you really just have to search for some of those scholarships and really look at the terms of those to make sure that you can adhere to that. Again, maintaining full-time status. Maybe it's a degree focused scholarship that you have to get X amount of hours in that degree, or X amount of practicum, or there's so many out there, but I encourage that for the fall 21-22 to start that search now, because I know some deadlines will definitely catch up to you, especially if you need references or essays. Again, I encourage you to get those in as soon as possible. Any other questions? And again, feel free to send me an email about yourself specifically and your finances. I'm not a numbers gal, but I try my best to work through everything with each student. Well, I don't want to, oh, just to clarify, there are a range of different merit-based scholarships. I can see that whole question. Give me 1 second. That's true. So our merit base is going to come from admissions, and you will basically get, again, through your scholarship there, you'll see a list of maybe some named scholarships on that page. Have we given the link to any of our merit? Is that an open page, Allie or Nicholas?
Yes, I'll drop the link.
Okay, so they're going to drop the link. Take a look at those. But most of the time, they do not require a separate application, but those terms may be very different. So definitely read through those terms and kind of see if you are eligible for that. Thank you, Allie. And I hope that answered your question. Okay, give me 1 second to pull the whole question up. Would you suggest that we try and emphasize our eligibility for these within our application? I'll just go ahead and say yes. Again, when it comes to those admissions merit based, I actually have nothing to do with those. I'm not on that review team, but I would encourage to emphasize as much information, read over the eligibility, and give as much as you can within the terms of that scholarship.
Hi there. I can just add to that, Dominique. It's
Yes.
Beth Corelli here. Hi, I work within admissions. And just to let you know that I know that our admissions team, as they're selecting merit-based scholarship recipients, they are kind of looking for the people that fit that criteria. So yes, it always helps to flag maybe your background or what would make you fit out for one of these. But we are continually looking for people that kind of fit within these parameters and would be a great fit for these merit-based. And just to also emphasize that merit-based scholarships are we look very holistically at each applicant. And so, you may think, oh, well, my GPA was the highest, or I don't have this or that, but, please in your application, let us know all the things that sometimes what you've done is work within the community or supporting your family who's gone through a crisis or a health issue. So all of those things count as far as like what your background is and how you would contribute to the Brown School. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Beth. That was nicely put. With the next question, what is the percentage or average of students at the Brown School who receive financial aid? So again, when you think about financial aid, for me, I'm talking from my lens. When I think financial aid, I think federal funds. And so when it comes to financial aid, every student has the opportunity to fill out their FAFSA. Okay, every student has the opportunity to submit that and for that to come to the Brown School. When it comes to those merit-based scholarship, like Beth said, those are just opportunities, just like you would apply for anything else. And then again, reviewed holistically and then awarded accordingly. And so is it likely, the second part, is it likely to get a full ride just with scholarships? It really does depend. There are some students that get full tuition. There are some students that navigate again with merit-based and need-based in conjunction with each other. And so they may not get a full tuition merit base, but whatever is left over in merit in their, let's say they get their merit-based scholarship and there is a balance of maybe 11,000 and they applied for need-based and they were awarded need-based, we would call that a full need-based scholarship in order to take care of the rest of your tuition to bring you up to the tuition cost. And so again, I wouldn't even say it's likely. I just say you give it your good shot, apply just like every other student, and hopefully you are awarded a full tuition-based scholarship.
Can I add something, Dominique?
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing that I learned from a Brown School info session when I was a student ambassador, I didn't even know this going in, is that every student who gets admitted who requests a merit-based scholarship will get some amount, even if that is a small amount. Like everyone will get some sort of merit-based, but the amount that you will receive is based on the strength of your application. Please correct me if I'm wrong or if that's changed, but that was something that I learned that I thought was really great.
Absolutely, yes. And Beth, I think she's shaking her head as well. I think that is correct. And then again, those whatever you are awarded will be divided across your program. And so I always like to remind students when they get, that 15,000, that looks good, but again, that's divided across your program. And so we also encourage, again, external scholarships, federal loans with me, and then we can kind of talk through what that looks like for you. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. I'm going to give you back some of your time on this Friday, but I look forward to working with you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email me directly and we will get those answers for you. Ambassadors, any other words of wisdom, questions, concerns, anybody?
Yeah, I can speak. I'm a first year student. So I just went through this whole application process that you guys are all going through. And Dominique was such a huge resource for me during that process. I reached out probably 4 times. It was a ridiculous amount of times, but Dominique was always available to speak with me and responded to emails so quickly. It made the application process so much more calm and smooth.
Good. I appreciate that, Nicholas. And I opened that up to every single student here. Definitely just try to get a hold of me. I try to get to you within 24 hours or less because I know sometimes we can get a little anxious with it and then we want to make sure that all of our ducks in a row and I want to make sure they are for you as well. So, all right, everyone. Well, hey, be safe, stay healthy, have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully we'll see you soon. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.